What would you do if a UFO shaped like the Millennium Falcon suddenly appeared over your city, and then vanished into thin air? That's exactly what witnesses reported in Mexico City. But the real twist came later in New Mexico, when a strange cloud above the Sandia Mountains began spitting out orb-shaped objects on camera. Within seconds, everything changed. Today, we look at what was recorded and what happened next. A mysterious event has sparked conversations across Mexico City, centered around what witnesses describe as an unidentified flying object with a distinct and oddly familiar shape. The craft, resembling the iconic starship known as the Millennium Falcon, was reportedly seen maneuvering through the city's airspace, its unconventional design a stark contrast against the metropolitan skyline. Eyewitness accounts describe a sense of awe and disbelief as the ship, a staple of science fiction, appeared to be a tangible presence in the real world. This unusual occurrence has been labeled with terms like extraterrestrial and abduction, reflecting the public's mix of fascination and apprehension. The narrative blurs the line between a cinematic fantasy and a present-day enigma, prompting speculation about its origins. Is it an elaborate hoax, a piece of advanced technology, or something else entirely? The sighting has transformed the everyday urban environment into a scene of speculative wonder, leaving onlookers to ponder the possibility of the fictional becoming fact. The image of the celebrated starship against the backdrop of a major world capital has created a powerful and lasting impression, fueling a modern legend UFO sighting over Sandia Mountains. Cloud formations have long been recognized as dynamic, naturally shifting structures shaped by wind currents, humidity, temperature, and atmospheric pressure. However, certain formations occasionally appear in ways that challenge conventional expectations. Some clouds develop extremely sharp geometric edges that resemble rectangles or squares, showing precision that does not align with typical meteorological behavior. These formations can be so vast that they become visible even from orbital vantage points, stretching across regions or entire continents. Their size and symmetry often produce discussions among observers who note that such shapes rarely occur without some form of unusual influence. In addition to these rectangular and square formations, certain clouds exhibit sudden openings or gaps. These voids often appear as though a circular or angular section has been forcibly removed, leaving behind a sharply defined hole. The clean borders of these gaps contrast with the irregular, frayed edges that normally develop when clouds dissipate naturally. Some observers interpret these openings as indications of powerful upward or downward disturbances, while others associate them with the passage of aircraft or atmospheric anomalies. Yet, even the more scientifically minded explanations do not fully address why some holes appear to be carved out with near-perfect uniformity, as though influenced by an unseen force. On the opposite end of the spectrum, clouds occasionally form near-perfect spheres. These spherical clouds stand isolated from surrounding formations, maintaining their shape far longer than typical atmospheric structures. Unlike ordinary clouds that shift, stretch, or distort as wind passes through them, these spherical shapes often remain stationary, suspended in the sky with little to no visible deformation. Their stability and isolation frequently raise questions about their true nature. Spherical formations are significantly rarer than rectangular or holed clouds, yet they continue to appear often enough to be documented across various regions of the world. The phenomena become even more complex when considering rapidly transforming cloud formations. In certain cases, cloud clusters shift shape at speeds that do not align with normal atmospheric change. Instead of gradually evolving over minutes or hours, these formations can undergo dramatic alterations in mere seconds. This type of behavior becomes particularly noticeable when small, object-like forms seem to materialize spontaneously around a larger central cloud. This type of activity was recorded in a notable incident above the Sandia Mountains in New Mexico. The footage associated with the Sandia Mountains event begins with a large, elongated cloud resembling a cigar-shaped structure. Nothing unusual appears above this main formation at first glance. However, within seconds, a distinct orb-shaped cloud materializes directly above and slightly to the right of the main structure. The appearance is abrupt, lacking the gradual development normally expected as moisture accumulates. Almost immediately after the orb appears, smaller object-like formations begin emerging from the larger cloud. These smaller orbs form around the central object and underneath it, developing rapidly and in sequence. Within an estimated 25-second span, the primary orb-like formation stretches and shifts into a smaller cigar shape. Meanwhile, 4 or 5 smaller spherical clouds form one after another along its sides and beneath the main structure. The speed of these transformations challenges natural cloud behavior, as atmospheric changes rarely produce such rapid and orderly developments. During this same interval, an additional smaller circular cloud appearing along the left edge of the main cigar-shaped formation separates and drifts a significant distance away. The separation occurs smoothly and quickly, covering what appears to be hundreds of yards within the brief time frame. Such patterns raise questions due to their speed, precision, and the systematic manner in which the smaller formations emerge. Natural clouds typically break apart irregularly, dissipate unevenly, and shift unpredictably based on turbulent airflow. The orderly separation observed in this case, along with the consistent density and shape of each emerging form, has attracted significant attention among analysts who study unusual atmospheric events. The location of the event adds further intrigue. The Sandia Mountains are home to Sandia National Laboratories, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. This facility is one of 3 national laboratories operating under the National Nuclear Security Administration. It manages an annual budget of approximately $3.1 billion and focuses on advanced defense systems, engineering research, nuclear weapons development, and various classified technologies. Due to the sensitive nature of the projects undertaken there, the surrounding region has long been associated with secrecy, restricted airspace, and advanced testing operations. New Mexico itself has a long-standing history of unusual aerial events. The state is deeply tied to stories of secret facilities and unexplained sightings dating back decades. The famous Roswell incident remains one of the most discussed events in modern history. And regardless of differing opinions on its authenticity, it placed New Mexico at the center of public fascination regarding unexplained aerial phenomena. Furthermore, the broader southwestern corridor that includes New Mexico, Nevada, and surrounding states hosts multiple restricted airspaces, classified research facilities, and military testing grounds. Area 51, while located in Nevada, contributes to the region's overall reputation as a hub for advanced experimentation. Past documented sightings have included large unidentified objects transported across highways under heavy tarps. These convoys have been escorted by extensive police presence and routed toward high-security facilities. Among the most recognizable photographs of these transports is an image showing a massive covered object with a clear, curved surface beneath the tarp, resembling a saucer-like structure. In other recorded cases, the tarp concealed triangular forms, shapes frequently reported in aerial sightings across decades. Notably, one such convoy was documented heading directly toward Sandia National Laboratories rather than toward a general military base or industrial storage location. This detail has contributed to speculation regarding the nature of the objects being transported and their connection to ongoing research or classified projects at the facility. The unusual cloud formations recorded above the Sandia Mountains have therefore raised considerable questions. The behavior documented in the footage exhibits characteristics not aligned with typical meteorological patterns. Clouds rarely reorganize themselves with the clarity and speed demonstrated in the video. The simultaneous emergence of multiple small orb-like structures around a central cloud, along with the rapid transformation of the main formation itself, suggests the possibility of an underlying mechanism or object influencing the cloud's behavior. Analysts reviewing the footage have noted that the density of the emerging objects remains consistent as they detach from the main formation. Natural clouds tend to thin out or fragment as they break apart. whereas these spheres maintain their clarity throughout the sequence. Additionally, the separation points appear deliberate rather than random. Each smaller orb emerges at a distinct interval, forming in a rhythm-like pattern instead of manifesting unpredictably as typical atmospheric fragments. The footage also shows stable edges along portions of the main formation, even as objects detach, which is atypical for clouds undergoing rapid change. Turbulent air usually distorts cloud edges during separation, causing wisps or irregular dispersal. The structured appearance in this event contradicts those expectations. Meteorological explanations for this type of event remain limited. Atmospheric lensing, lighting distortions, camera artifacts, and rapid temperature shifts have all been suggested in similar cases. Yet none provide a satisfactory explanation for the specific sequence of movements and formations visible in the footage. The speed, precision, and consistency observed exceed the characteristics associated with normal cloud development, especially within a time frame of under 30 seconds. The event's proximity to Sandia National Laboratories adds an additional layer of context that cannot be ignored when analyzing the footage. The facility deals with advanced technologies, experimental defense systems, and classified research. Regions surrounding such installations have historically been associated with sightings of unconventional aerial objects, unusual atmospheric behavior, and unexplained phenomena. The pattern aligns with decades of observations reported near restricted zones or areas with intense research activity. When reviewing the Sandia Mountains footage frame by frame, the movements remain equally puzzling. The small orb-like structures emerge fully formed rather than gradually coalescing from moisture. Their shapes remain intact while moving away from the main body. The transformation of the central object from an orb into a cigar shape occurs smoothly, without the uneven spreading or distortion expected in cloud evolution. Even with enhanced contrast or brightness adjustments, the formations maintain distinct shapes, suggesting that light distortion alone cannot explain the phenomenon. Historical context further amplifies the significance of the event. New Mexico has recorded numerous incidents involving unidentified aerial activity for several generations. The region's persistent association with advanced military programs, nuclear research, and classified testing suggests that unusual aerial behavior may be linked to experimental technologies operating in restricted airspace. Whether connected to defense research, atmospheric experiments, or unidentified objects, the cluster of anomalies in this geographical area forms a recognizable pattern over time. The Sandia Mountains footage therefore stands as a compelling example of cloud behavior that does not fit comfortably within established atmospheric science. The rapid sequence of transformations, the emergence of multiple orb-like forms, the structured movements, and the precise separations combine to create a scenario that remains difficult to categorize. Traditional meteorological explanations do not fully account for the behaviors displayed. The location's significance adds more weight to the need for further examination. The footage demonstrates a cluster of formations acting in ways that resemble coordinated movement rather than random atmospheric drift. The distinct timing of each emergence, the consistent density of the spheres, and the stable transformation of the main object collectively form an event that challenges conventional understanding. The association with a major national laboratory known for advanced technological research increases the likelihood that this event may involve influences beyond natural cloud processes. Although further data, multiple perspectives, and additional recordings would provide deeper clarity, the existing footage already presents an anomaly that continues to attract interest from experts, researchers, and analysts. It stands as a notable example of atmospheric behavior that defies simple classification and reinforces the broader history of unexplained aerial phenomena documented within the region surrounding Sandia National Laboratories. Tell me your thoughts below. This is a fascinating sighting. Black V-shaped craft. Another significant UFO observation has circulated recently, featuring a silent, black, V-shaped craft recorded hovering in the sky while exhibiting shifting motion. The precise location of the footage remains unknown. The absence of coordinates, timestamps, or metadata raises important considerations, as video files lacking this information typically fall into two primary categories. Either the individual who captured the footage withheld the location to avoid unwanted attention, or the identifying data was deliberately removed before being released to the public. What is certain is that the footage surfaced online on October 9th and has since been widely shared among analysts, researchers, skeptics, pattern trackers, and various communities studying aerial anomalies. Footage of this type draws heightened interest when it appears suddenly, particularly when the craft demonstrates structured geometry, controlled motion, and a design associated with prior sightings. The clip has been processed through multiple enhancement layers, including contrast adjustments, brightness corrections, and filters designed to isolate depth, shadow consistency, and object boundaries. These processed versions reveal details that remain less noticeable in the original recording. Defined outlines become more visible, and the interaction between light and the object appears unusual, with illumination bending around the structure rather than reflecting in a uniform pattern. Certain edges display fluid-like movement when slowed frame by frame, suggesting non-standard aerodynamics or an energy field affecting the object's boundaries. Such characteristics often stand out to long-term reviewers of anomalous aerial footage. Enhanced versions of the clip also emphasize environmental cues surrounding the object. The cloud behavior, atmospheric stillness, and near-total silence in the ambient audio contribute to the overall mystery. In many documented cases, the most revealing information comes not from the craft itself, but from the interaction between the environment and the object's presence. Atmospheric disturbances, cloud deformation, and sound anomalies frequently accompany unidentified aerial vehicles, and similar indicators are present in this footage. Patterns of this nature continue to increase globally, with triangular and V-shaped craft becoming especially common. These shapes are often referred to as vectors, chevrons, or wedge formations, and reports indicate a steady rise in their frequency across multiple continents. One of the most notable aspects of this trend is the long-standing connection between chevron symbolism and aerospace institutions. NASA mission patches, spanning early shuttle flights to modern interplanetary probes, repeatedly incorporate vector shapes. These symbols appear in primary logos, background insignia, constellation artwork, embroidery layouts, and numerous designs that seem unrelated to triangular craft at face value. However, when missions, dates, and symbolic patterns are compared to long-standing sighting reports, correlations emerge that are difficult to categorize as coincidence. The vector motif also appears in the insignias of nearly every major and minor space agency worldwide. The orientation may vary, upward, downward, split, layered, or stylized, but the shape itself remains consistent across nations with differing political systems, design philosophies, and historical backgrounds. Symbolic synchronization on this scale is statistically unlikely unless guided by underlying influences or long-standing shared knowledge. Common explanations claim the chevron represents wings, aerodynamics, or generic flight symbolism. However, the recurrence of this shape across unrelated agencies and eras suggests a deeper meaning. The vector is among the oldest symbolic forms associated with acceleration, upward movement, advanced technology, and non-human engineering in various mythologies and cultural depictions. Its modern usage in aerospace contexts may therefore reflect more than artistic preference. The global rise in triangular and V-shaped craft sightings coincides with this symbolic pattern. Reports describe immense triangular platforms moving silently over populated areas, smaller maneuverable craft darting through clouds, and dark, matte black structures capable of absorbing surrounding light. The geometric shape appears integral to the propulsion system or energy mechanism, not a decorative choice, but a functional design element. Many sightings involve craft that maintain perfect stability, execute sharp directional changes, or glide with precision inconsistent with conventional aircraft. The environmental details in the current footage add another layer of complexity. The clouds positioned behind the craft display geometric features such as straight edges, sharp angles, and symmetric cutouts. Natural atmospheric processes rarely produce such precise formations, especially in clusters. These features mirror previous observations in which unidentified craft appear to manipulate or alter the surrounding atmosphere. Cloud layers have been seen flattening, rippling, bending, or opening as objects move through or near them. In enhanced versions of the present footage, subtle outlines suggest structural mass concealed within or behind the cloud layer, implying the possibility of a larger craft using vapor as camouflage. The phenomenon of cloud-based concealment has been documented in numerous cases. Some unidentified objects appear to intentionally generate or inhabit cloud structures, using water vapor as a visual barrier to observers. Light diffusion within these clouds often reveals faint geometric patterns or shadow outlines hinting at hidden structures. Such patterns are visible in this footage as well, suggesting that the object may not be isolated, but instead one part of a larger concealed system. This sighting aligns with a broader long-term trend. Triangular, wedge-shaped, and chevron-like craft have been recorded near military installations, deserts, mountainous regions, oceans, civilian air corridors, and even in low Earth orbit. The frequency of reports has increased to the point that cataloging each incident individually has become difficult. The growth of the phenomenon suggests a coordinated pattern rather than isolated events. This pattern also correlates with activity near research centers, classified testing grounds, and restricted access facilities. Numerous sightings have occurred in airspace controlled by laboratories or military programs engaged in advanced aerospace research. These locations often include underground levels, unmarked transport vehicles, isolated landing zones, and security measures inconsistent with standard scientific operations. Such characteristics have fueled discussions regarding reverse engineering efforts, monitoring initiatives, or direct interaction between unknown craft and human institutions. The black V-shaped craft in the current footage should therefore be viewed within this larger context. Its geometry, motion profile, and atmospheric effects match numerous prior incidents. The appearance of cloud anomalies in the surrounding region further supports the possibility of environmental manipulation associated with the craft. The lack of metadata or identifiable location limits the ability to link this sighting to nearby facilities. But the footage follows patterns already documented at multiple restricted zones worldwide. The proliferation of these sightings coincides with a broader rise in public interest, online analysis, and global documentation. Many platforms have reported declining visibility for content related to classified aerospace activity, unexplained aerial phenomena, and symbolic analysis. Reports indicate that videos covering these topics have become harder to discover through automated recommendation systems, prompting discussions about selective suppression. Such shifts typically occur when topics intersect with sensitive research, classified programs, or narratives that institutional systems prefer to minimize. Despite reduced visibility on some platforms, the ongoing circulation of footage like this continues to expand public awareness. As more individuals analyze the patterns, connections between sightings, symbolism, and geopolitical activity become increasingly apparent. The footage demonstrates behavior consistent with a wider, accelerating phenomenon. Each new example contributes additional data points, reinforcing the conclusion that the events unfolding across global airspace represent an organized, technologically advanced presence. The increasing frequency of triangular and V-shaped craft, the alignment with aerospace symbolism, the environmental disturbances surrounding these objects, and the geographic overlap with restricted research zones collectively point toward a phenomenon operating at a scale far beyond isolated incidents. Continued documentation and analysis remain essential for understanding the accelerating pattern and its implications. If additional footage, higher resolution versions, or multi-angle recordings of this particular sighting surface in the future, they will provide further clarity on the object's behavior, structure, and environmental interactions. Until then, the available material stands as another significant entry in the growing record of advanced, unidentified aerial formations appearing across global airspace. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, and I'll have much more for you soon.